What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. In today's video we're gonna be speedrunning Castlevania Symphony of the Night glitchless, but with a twist. We can't save, we cannot equip anything to our hands, and we can only heal from HP max ups after bosses. Is it even possible? Stay tuned, enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. On this first attempt, we're gonna be unequipping both our shield and weapon because we can't have anything equipped into our hands, and we're gonna be making our way into the first hallway of the castle. It's a little bit slower than in the regular glitchless speedrun as we can't have anything equipped into our hands, but we're trying to do this taking as little damage as possible up until we have our first encounter with death, where she'll take everything we have equipped, everything we started the game with. And this is gonna be making our life a little bit harder because we can't get hit too much now that our defense has gone to pretty much zero. So we grabbed the first relic in the game, Key of Zoe. It's gonna be great for damage, especially with the sub weapons that are available. And we're gonna be making our way into the first boss of the game, is Slogra and Gaibon. We're gonna be taking advantage here of the spell called Tetra Spirit to do a lot of damage to them and just finish them off with our bare hands. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of these, me picking up these HP max ups after bosses because they are the only healing possible. So we made our way up until the outer wall to fight the second boss of the run, Doppelganger 10. We take advantage of the stopwatch to freeze him in place so we can deal damage with him without any trouble. And then we just get the HP max up again to increase our max HP pool and also regen everything we have. Now we're grabbing this Soul of Wolf relic. That's the whole reason we even got here. And we get into the first trouble of the seed. The Medusa head spawn kind of threw me off, and then I tried to use spells iframes to my advantage and took a lot of damage. So more than half my HP was just gone from this 15-second interaction here. I finally was able to kill the Sword Lord, and then we can move on into opening the elevator and actually grabbing the Soul of Wolf relic. So in this attempt, I'm gonna be going down, grabbing the Garnet. This is standard in glitchless speedrunning, so we can actually buy a little bit of stuff in the shop. But now I just make my way up into the Colosseum, where we'll be able to find the second transformation of the game, which is the Form of Mist. Form of Mist is locked behind those two bosses, Minotaur and Werewolf. So we're going to be using a speedrun strat here to kill them really quickly, trying not to take damage because our HP is really low. Werewolf can be tricky, and he actually manages to hit me there for 24 damage, but he was one hit away. So I just finish him off really quickly, grab the HP max up, and we can move on into grabbing the Form of Mist. At this point, I realize that I cannot equip anything into my hands, not even the library card. So I just have to adapt here and go back into the library manually. So that took about 5 minutes. So we can grab the Jewel of Open and we can purchase a couple of stuff. So we get ourselves a headgear, a cloak, and an armor to increase our defense. And then we're gonna be making our way up here to fight the Lesser Demon boss that locks the best transformation in the game, which is the Soul of Bat. So we try to make quick work of Lesser Demon using the spells, and that went pretty smoothly. So we can finally get the best transformation, Soul of Bat. That allows us to move pretty quickly using the Wing Smash spell. And then we are able to go down into the caverns to grab both the gold ring, which is a required item, and we're gonna be grabbing also the spike breaker so we can get access later on into another required item. Here we'll be grabbing the Moonstone. That's a very good item, also grabbed in the glitchless speedrun. Increases all your stats by 5. We're going to be dealing more damage and have a little bit more defense. So we make relatively quick work of succubus in order to grab the gold ring, and then we go down this huge shaft into finding our way to grab the spike breaker. Here I'm gonna be grabbing our main form of damage for the run, which is the holy water sub weapon. It quickly deals with most bosses in this run. Another HP max up, and then we are finally able to get into the room where we can, out of logic, the game doesn't expect you to be able to get into the spike breaker room without having both the transformation of Bat and echo of Bat. So we're gonna be using another trick here to traverse through this room in the dark, because we know the layout, and just using a couple of well-placed swing smashes we are through, and we're gonna be acquiring the spike breaker armor, which allows you to move through spikes without taking any damage. That's gonna be huge for grabbing the silver ring. Another required item in combination with the gold ring allows us to acquire the holy glasses, which is another required item for us to get into the second castle of the game. We quickly make our way into the clock tower, and the boss of this area is gonna be Karasuman, a very relatively easy boss considering how late we fight it in the run. He also gives us another HP max up. We are actually with a decent HP pool, 170 plus. Now we're gonna be acquiring another movement relic, which is the leap stone, that allows us to do a double jump, another jump in the air, so we can now reach higher locations and have better movement. This is the Hippogriff boss, one of the higher HP boss in the first castle. We make quick work of him using the holy water sub weapon alongside some well-placed spells. He also gives us an HP max up, and this is going to be the last HP max up we'll be getting in the first castle. So using the spike breaker armor alongside mist, we can actually access this room that is also locked by a blue door, and that's open because we bought the Jewel of Open relic in the library. So now we acquire the silver ring item, and then we make our way into the center of the castle, into this huge clock that opens up if you have both the silver and gold ring equipped, and it's locking the holy glasses item. This is a headgear, and right before, we're going to be making our way up into the gravity boots location. This is the best vertical movement in the game, and now we're actually going to be making our way down here to grab the holy glasses item. This allows us to see that Richter, in theory the last boss in the game, is actually being controlled by a dark priest called Shaft, and then we can warp into the keep area, castle keep, and go into that boss fight with Richter being controlled by that priest Shaft. And you're gonna be seeing that orb up there. It needs to be hit like 10 times for it to die, so it doesn't have actually HP. It's just like a number of hits that you have to connect to complete that boss fight. Here is the second castle of the game, so it's an inverted castle. Most people don't even know that exists because the game doesn't give any good clues regarding it. So this is where we're gonna be fighting our last 5 bosses in the game. Each boss holds a piece of Dracula, so a Vlad relic, and we're gonna be needing all 5 in order to activate the last 2 boss fights in the game. So this is the first boss we're gonna be fighting. It's Darkwing Bat. It's relatively easy using spells plus the holy water sub weapon, and he actually holds the ring of Vlad. So we're going to be acquiring this. All of these 5 Vlad relics, they give some stat buff. So we're going to keep moving left here and grabbing the dragon helm. This is a great item. It's going to help with all of the other boss fights in the game. This is the creature, and he's gonna take a lot of damage from those sub weapons in combination with having the dragon helm equipped. So he actually does this rolling attack here, which is a little bit annoying because he moves off screen on and off. and we're gonna be waiting for him to stop that attack so we can deal the last bit of damage to actually kill him and acquire our second Vlad relic in this run. It's gonna be the Tooth of Vlad, and now we're gonna be making our way into the reverse caverns, the reverse abandoned mines, where our third boss of the run is Death. So we're gonna be actually killing Death here. It's a tough boss without anything equipped in your hands, so we're gonna be taking advantage of spells here plus our fists, trying to make quick work of this very annoying boss with the current loadout that we'll be using for this challenge run. So I almost die here, get down to 13 HP, but I'm able to finish the first phase, get a couple of levels, and hopefully we can pull this off here with very little HP left. We were able to dodge that attack. That attack would have killed us. Every single attack that his second form does actually kills us. We're using Leapstone plus transformation to dodge a little bit, and we're actually through. So we finished Death here, both phases, not unscathed, but we are through. And now we are acquiring the third Vlad relic, the Eye of Vlad. So now we're gonna be warping back to the reverse castle keep in order to make our way into the remaining two bosses on the right side of the castle. We just cleared the left side, so now we're going to be going to the right side, fighting the first boss here, which is Medusa. And now let's see, 1 Miss Holy Water, 2 Miss Holy Waters, 3 Miss Holy Waters. Kind of embarrassing, but we cornered her, and then we're able to finish the fight off in order to acquire our fourth Vlad relic, which is the Heart of Vlad. So now we're through, and we're gonna be making our way to the center of the castle, but not without getting hit. We're almost half of our remaining HP. So now this is the last boss we fight in Akmodan. We just throw more Miss Holy Waters there, and only 2 Holy Waters take care of the Akmodan boss, and he's gonna be holding the last Vlad relic we'll be collecting here, which is the Rib of Vlad. So now we're gonna be making our way into the center of the castle, not before getting hit for almost all of our HP. So we actually need to fight the toughest boss in this challenge, which is Shaft. He has a lot on screen, so it's kind of tough to predict if you're gonna get hit or not, and we are gonna be dead in only 1 hit, so we need to be extra careful here on preserving as much MP as possible. And now we're gonna be trying this without getting hit. So I'm gonna be taking advantage of spells here, especially the Tether Spirit. So the third cast, and we actually get cornered there and die. So there goes our first attempt in this challenge. We got relatively far into the second to last boss. So let's just jump right back into the attempt number 2, unequip stuff in our hands. And this went relatively well up until we grabbed the Soul of Wolf. Here I'm gonna be making some adjustments to the route. So instead of going down, I'm gonna go through the clock tower, and I'm gonna be bodied here, so I'm getting hit a lot. I already took more than 40 damage, and now I'm down to 28 HP. So this is really rough. This is a very tough area of the game. I get hit by 10 more, and then just the tip of his sword hits me. So there goes attempt number 2. We're up to our second death, and 1 hour and 20 into this challenge. So let's go back into our attempt number 3. We're gonna be unequipping, getting hit a little bit, but doesn't matter too much because it doesn't deal too much damage. So we're right back into grabbing the Soul of Wolf, but now another adjustment. Instead of going up, we're gonna be doing the same route up until Minotaur and Werewolf. We're gonna be killing the duo here, grabbing the Form of Mist relic, and we're gonna be actually going left here and grabbing one of the most important items for this challenge, which is the Mystic Pendant. Mystic Pendant doubles the regeneration rate for your mana, so that's gonna be really helpful for our both movement and the amount of damage we can do with spells. So this is actually a huge improvement into the run. I'm really happy I thought about this because it makes the run a lot easier. So we're gonna be taking care of Hippogriff here. We're gonna go up on our way to Castle Keep to acquire the Leapstone relic, as well as grabbing the teleport, so we can easily go back to that later on in the run. Now we're gonna be warping right back into the library, do our little shopping here, armor, headgear, cloak, we get it all, and then right back into fighting Lesser Demon to acquire the best movement relic in the game, which is again the Soul of Bat. This allows us to go right back down into the caverns area with faster movement now because we have more MP. We can't forget to grab the Moonstone. So let's fight Succubus in order to acquire the required item, which is Gold Ring. She actually gave us a little bit of trouble in this run, but with spells and, well, time jumps, we were able to finish her off and acquiring the Gold Ring. So now I'm making a very big mistake here. I should have gone down to collect the Spike Breaker, but I completely forgot and went up. This is actually the standard glitchless strat, so that's why I got mixed up with my muscle memory. So I tried to adapt here using spells to acquire iframes so we can have enough time to open the door. And unfortunately I take too much damage and die. So this is attempt number 3, death number 3, and let's jump right back into it. So let's go with attempt number 4. We unequip everything again so we can make our way into the start of the game. So first castle went relatively well, not too much to talk about it. So we entered the second castle here and it went relatively well too, up until we fight Death. So the third boss in the second castle. As I said, it's a very tough boss. There's a lot of stuff going on screen. He has a lot of damage on every single hit. So this is a very tough boss fight. I'm trying to use spells here to get iframes to go past the flying sights. Now he does his attack that allows us to do a lot of damage with our fists. So that was what we're gonna do. And we're through for the first phase. We throw some holy waters there to try and deal damage as that is standing still. And he does this attack and I actually get cornered and get hit. So we die. So attempt number 4 wasn't the one as well. So attempt number 5, we have 4 deaths on our count here. And this attempt we made a lot of adjustments to the run. So we get through the Slugger and Gaibon fight. I'm gonna show every single boss fight in order here. So we do deal with the first boss of the game. It's actually a double boss. So we get both Slugger and Gaibon dead relatively easy, get the HP max up, and we can move on into the next boss after 5 minutes of movement, which is Doppelganger 10. Doppelganger 10 is just a copy of yourself. He has some dangerous attacks, but if you can loop his AI, it's relatively fine, but we don't have to because we have the stopwatch sub-weapon, which freezes him in place, and then we can grab the HP max up and refuel all of our health and move on with our lives. After we finish him, we grab the Soul of Wolf relic, make our way into the center of the castle to fight the third boss of the run, which is Minotaur and Werewolf. We quickly deal with Minotaur with just our fists, and then we use spells plus a couple of hits to deal with Werewolf. So very clean fight there, not taking any hits. We're gonna be grabbing the HP max up, so we heal a little bit, but more importantly we increase our HP pool, so we are a little bit tankier and can take more hits. After that, we're gonna be grabbing the Form of Beast location, and this is a new addition to the run. We're gonna go down here and grabbing the Blood Cloak. Blood Cloak gives a little bit of defense, but we're actually grabbing it because of its effect. Whenever we get hit, just transforms the hits into hearts. So we take the damage, but we get some hearts as well. So this is going to be especially useful because we are going to be using sub-weapons to deal damage. So sub-weapons use our hearts. We have 45 on the top left corner. So fast time here killing Hippogriff. Get another HP max up, and we're going to be moving on into the Castle Keep area to again acquire the Leapstone Relic. Double jump is very nice to have for movement. Then we're gonna warp right back into Outer Wall so we can enter the library, and there's a couple of stuff we need to do here. First, we're gonna be shopping, so we sell our gems here. We acquire the Jewel of Open. Since we have the Blood Cloak, we don't have any necessity to buy another cloak, so we're gonna be grabbing the Steel Cuirass, which is the best armor sold in the shop, and we're also gonna be getting the Leatherhead that gives us a little bit of defense as well. It's a headgear. So now right back into Lesser Demon. We actually have the stopwatch this time, so he moves way slower and the boss fight is way cleaner. We grab the Soul of Bat Relic, and then we make our way down the remainder of Outer Wall into the Marble Gallery, which gives us access to the Underground Caverns. Underground Caverns, we have two items we need to collect here. First one is the Gold Ring. Grab the Moonstone on the way to the boss fight with Succubus that holds the Gold Ring item. So Tethered Spirit, one of the best spells in the game, in combination with double jumping and hitting Succubus with our fists, makes this fight relatively fast. So after Succubus is dead, we're gonna be collecting the Gold Ring item, and then we're gonna be making our way down the shaft. We don't forget the Spike Breaker this time, and making our way into the Abandoned Mine, which has another boss fight. Grab the Holy Water, which is going to be one of our main forms of damage, and we're through into the Cerberus boss fight. He throw a bunch of Holy Waters into his hitbox, and there we go, he is dead. Now we can make our way into Spike Breaker room. So again, I'm going to show you guys how we maneuver through this. Perfectly executed wing smash there into an upwards wing smash here, and then we take the intentional damage boost into the perfect position to perform one more wing smash spell, and we're through. Now we grab the Spike Breaker and just make our way right back into the Reverse Keep. We're actually going to be grabbing another relic here. This relic is the Power of Mist relic. It makes us waste less MP by transforming to mist, and that's specifically good for that area. So we preserve a little bit more MP, and then we can use it to escape this area a little bit faster. We collect the silver ring here, and we make our way down into the center of the castle, the huge clock area, so we can access the Holy Glasses location. Not before we grab the Gravity Boots items. So we make our way up here into collecting the Gravity Boots, the best vertical movement in the game. We collect it, then we make our way down into the Holy Glasses location. We quickly collect it, make our way into Castle Keep, into fighting Richter. I actually take a big hit here, 20 damage, so this is gonna be a factor later on, so keep that in mind. Now, the first boss of the second castle, Mr. Darkwing Bat. Again, we're gonna be using the Holy Water sub-weapon. I actually throw it a little bit too short, so it doesn't deal the amount of damage I was hoping for. So I'm gonna have to rely on the Tethered Spirit spell to do enough damage to take care of Darkwing Bat. So there he goes, he's dead. And now we're gonna be able to collect the Ring of Lead. We make our way into the left side of the castle again, collecting the Dragon Helm. That's gonna lower enemies' defense by half, so that's gonna help a lot with boss fights. So creature, a couple of Holy Water throws, and he is dead without major issues. So didn't take any hits there, and we're gonna be able to collect the Tooth of Vlad. This is actually a mistranslation. It was supposed to be Vlad's Fang, but it got mistranslated into Vlad's Tooth. So this is the only game in the franchise that has Tooth of Vlad instead of Fang of Vlad. Into the underground caverns, the reverse castle, and we're actually gonna be, since I'm very low HP, I'm gonna fight an optional boss just so he can drop HP max up and heals us. So this is Doppelganger 40. It's the same boss as in the first castle, but he's level 40 instead of level 10, so he's way more dangerous. He has better swords, better attacks, and there just deals 32 damage to me, and then again 12. So I'm almost one hit away from dying, so I just take a breather there using the Mace plus Power of Mace, and then we are able to go back and loop the Doppelganger 40 AI into a more safe state, so we can not quickly but safely finish this boss fight. So we get some very important level ups as well, so we deal more damage, and most importantly we get the HP refuel. So now we have 200 HP to work with. We then make our way into the mines in the reverse castle, so we can fight the third boss of this castle, third required boss, which is Death. Death has killed the run, so we actually take a thinker here and try to strategize a little bit. So I cannot miss any spell inputs. That's gonna be really dangerous. Use spells to get iframes and then just deal a lot of damage to Death. She actually stopped in the proper position there, so we can throw Holy Waters into the second phase. We deal some damage with spells, and Holy Water just finishes it off without taking a single hit. That's gonna be huge because now we're full HP to go into the right side of the castle and finish the game. So we get our third Vlad relic, Eye of Vlad, and then we make our way into the right side of the castle to fight Medusa. So no miss Holy Waters this time. We actually perfect damage to her. We take a little bit of a hit, but that's not gonna be too much of an issue. It's not like for a great deal of damage, so we're able to get the Heart of Vlad and move on into the Akmodan boss fight, the last required boss before the final duel. So a couple of Holy Water throws just deal with this boss with relative ease, and we get the final piece of Vlad, and that unlocks the two boss fights. I'm just gonna show a very cool, neat strat here. You just transform with Wolf and run into this room, and the enemies don't hit you. I love this strat, so I really want to include it in this video. So now we're up into the two last bosses of the run. The first one's gonna be Shaft. He was the one that killed the first attempt, but now we have more MP and more HP, so we have a better shot at finishing this off. We throw some Holy Waters in the ground into Shaft's path, so we deal a little bit more damage and deal damage by spells. We take a hit for 40 HP, but we're able to finish the Shaft boss fight. So we're, for the first time, through into the final boss of the game. Final boss is actually Alucard's, our main character's father, and he has some very predictable movement. So in his first phase, he goes down here, and he actually always attacks into using the hand which is closest to Alucard. So knowing that, we are able to maneuver through the screen without getting hit, and using Holy Waters to deal damage to Drake when he's standing still. After the first phase, he flies back and throws a huge lightning ball, which you're able to easily dodge. We use a spell here just to increase our damage output and deal damage as much as you can before he does his attack. So we use the Mace plus Power of Mace to dodge, and we're right back into dealing damage to our father. So just punching him and dodging his attacks, and there we go. We finished the challenge in 3 hours and 31 minutes. That's counting all of the attempts. So as you can see, we had 4 deaths, so we finished in our 5th attempt, and in total this took 3 hours and 31 minutes. The 5th attempt alone took just over 50 minutes, so a relatively quick time considering the world record for glitchless speedrunning is 30 minutes. So we added some challenges into this run and we are able to finish only 20 minutes after world record time. So it is actually possible to finish Castlevania Symphony of the Night without equipping anything into your hands, without saving, and only healing after bosses that spawn HP max up, and obviously without any glitches.